بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله آله وصحبه من والاه رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وصلى الله على سيدنا Muhammad Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm going to keep this really short, inshallah. This is not a detailed history lesson or anything of that sort, but I just want to briefly say and have a message to every Jew and anybody else who wants to listen. I do not hate Jews. I never did. I never have. I don't believe in that. Almost every Muslim I know, I guess actually every Muslim I can possibly think of, none of them hate Jews. Nobody hates Jews or Christians or any religion for that matter. We don't hate anybody, really. Okay. Nobody wants to hurt Jews that I know of. No, quite the opposite. Everybody wants to live in peace with everybody. We want peace. We like peace. We like peace and prosperity. Okay. One thing I'll tell you. Years ago, I asked my sheikh what I should pray for in the night. If I get up at night and pray for people. And the one thing he said was that pray for every human being in every place to have peace, prosperity, well-being, health, and so on, and safety. That's another one he said. For every human being in every place, and for the ummah. So the first thing he said was every human being in every place. Then he said and for the ummah, right? So part of my question was, I was praying for the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for all the Muslims. But he actually said for every human being in every place. Okay, that includes every Jew as well. Okay, and I did. I pray for them as well. I really do. I don't want evil for anybody. I don't believe in hurting people. Just like randomly. Like no one believes in this, right? I believe that Muslims and Jews have lived in peace for like 1,400 years. Okay, and that can easily continue, and it still does continue actually in a lot of places. There's Jews in Iran. A lot of people don't know there were Jews in the Iranian Revolution. Jews have been living in the Arab world for 1,300 years before the Nakba. 1,300 years. And some people will try to tell you some stories about how, they used to abuse them or something like that. Yeah, I don't believe that at all. I don't think any of that is true. It's not representative whatsoever of any story I've ever heard. There's Muslims to this day who've lived side by side with Jews just fine. I met two Israeli Jews in Texas, like 5 or 6 years ago or something like that. Okay, and they were originally from Morocco, like 100 years ago or something. And after the Nakba, they moved to Israel. Like their parents moved to Israel actually, and these two moved back to the USA, or they moved to the USA rather. So they're living in the United States of America, and their names were Ron and Laron. I wonder if they'll ever watch this video. It's a true story, seriously. And the female, her name was Laron. She was saying how she went back to Morocco and visited her old community there. And one thing an old Jewish community who are still living there in Morocco. They've been there this whole time. They never went to Israel. They never did the Aliyah or whatever. They never did that. They've just been living in Morocco. And they said, we're fine here. And we've been fine here this whole time. And they actually asked her, why did you leave? And she said, I don't even know. She said, I don't know. I have no idea. We had no reason to. And they were asking her, like, why do you even leave? There's no reason for you to leave here. We're safe here. Everything's fine. People always try to look up and cite things. Look at this riot here and there and blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows the real history behind that. And they'll always lie to you and tell you and hide the truth from you. It's not hard to uncover the lies of Israel. It's not hard to uncover that. It's not hard to even just think about it. I mean, history itself, the people themselves, nothing represents their narrative. Nothing represents their narrative. If you just go and ask people, read history, study the facts. I'm not here to give you all kinds of facts. If I want to, there's a ton of books you can read. You can read Against Our Better Judgment by Alison Vare. If you want to read a bunch of facts, you can read that type of stuff. There's tons of people who've been writing all kinds of books about this. It's not hard to go and find it. But I just want to briefly, inshallah, explain this, that as a Muslim, I do not hate Jews. I don't believe in killing them or anything of that sort. And I think it was very ignorant to just go and hurt people, like random people who are unarmed, having a party or whatever. You can't. I don't believe you can do that in Islam. And every Muslim I know is saying you can't do that. Even in the middle of an actual force-on-force war between two states, the Muslims actually cannot do that. Okay, now other people do it to us all the time. They've been doing it very brutally for many decades, actually for centuries. The Christians have been slaughtering Muslims for centuries. Okay, every time there was a pogrom in Europe, where the Jews ran to? They often ran to the Muslim world. often ran to the Muslim world. They usually ran to the Ottoman Empire, to North Africa. They were always safe with the Muslims. There's never in any history that I am aware of a pogrom in the Muslim world. It just doesn't exist. We don't do that. We don't just randomly murder. We don't believe in genocide. We don't believe in genocide. The only time you'll ever read about genocides is after the westernization of a Muslim country. A country that has not been westernized, you'll never find a genocide in their history. It doesn't exist against any people, anybody, Jew, Christian, Hindu, anybody. We don't do that. We don't believe in that. It's completely against our beliefs. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. It's just unproductive. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. You know, it just falls into the category of absurdities that you would never even imagine. That's the way it is to us. We don't even think that way. The only people who think that way are people who've been brainwashed by like Kant and whack job Enlightenment thinkers who are clinically diagnosed as insane, which is where a lot of Western thought comes from, actually. So one thing I recommend is to look up all the Enlightenment thinkers, you know, the thinkers of the sexual revolution and so on. A lot of these people were clinically diagnosed as actually literally insane. Like, so they get their philosophy from people who are actually insane, and then we wonder why the West is going insane. It's like, well, you're not listening to the right people, you know. If you look at Muslim thinkers, they are enlightened people who have huge light. They're saints of God. They're very close to God, you know. I mean, Islamic thought is the most superior thought you'll ever find in the world. You know, if you learn about and study Islamic thought, you read Ghazali, you're never going to go astray reading Ghazali. Okay, you'll get huge light reading Ghazali. Okay, so you know, it's not very brief. I apologize, but that's pretty much all I want to say. You know, I mean, if you don't believe Muslims respect Jews, I mean, you've never met a Muslim. That's probably why you're not actually talking to Muslims. You're just listening to nonsense. It's just a bunch of nonsense. Anybody can say anything. It's the same thing the Nazis did. Go read Hitler's speech before he invaded Poland. Look at the reasons he invaded Poland. He produced these fake attacks on the border between Poland and Germany, and his argument was that the Poles are attacking us on our border, so it's okay for us to just invade them and kill whoever we want. Next thing you know, you had the Holocaust. You know, and then look at the narrative going on in Israel. It's the same narrative. It's the same activity. And, you know, you look at the Gestapo. Compare the Gestapo to the Mossad. It's very similar. It's eerily similar. Like, the more you study the history of Nazism and you study what's going on in the history of Israel, there's strange similarities between these people. It's usually like the Ashkenazis who are coming up with these things. You know, you don't just like release your trauma on the people who helped you. You know, I mean, just think about it for a moment. 100 years ago, there's a disgusting, horrible pogrom in Europe yet again. You know, I believe there's even a time the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire literally threatened Europe with invasion and jihad if they didn't stop their pogroms against Jews, because they were just disgusted by this stuff. It's horrible. You know, just you don't commit genocides. You know, we don't believe in that stuff. Respect human life. You know. And you know, where did the Jews run to after the Holocaust? They went to Palestine, man. And who let them in? The Palestinians. It's like, come in, we'll help you. We've helped you for 1,300 years. Every time, through every century you've had a pogrom, you were always welcome to be safe in the Muslim world. And many of you stayed here. Iraq had Jews. You know, before the Nakba, Iraq had Jews. And then the Mossad chased them out. Why? Because they wanted to use them for farming in the new state of Israel they created. You know, and then even then they had an actual apartheid between Arab Jews and Ashkenazi Jews. You know, they actually did that. It's like, you know, white, you know, European Jews over there, and then the Arab Jews over there. Like, people literally walked into buildings and had separate lines. Ask anybody who was there at the time. Ask any Israeli who was there in the 1950s. They will tell you. Were there separate lines for Arab Jews? They'll tell you, right? And they're just learning from Nazis. They took from them, and they took their trauma on the worst thing. The people who helped them, the Muslims, helped them. There were Muslims who helped them escape from Europe. There were many. Okay, just look up the history. You can find it. You can find it. It's not hard to find. Muslims helped them escape the Holocaust. Then they went and turned on them and did a Holocaust back on them. It's really all it is. That's really all it is. You know, it's like, what on earth? You know, if you want to take revenge, go take it on Germany. If you want to steal somebody's land, go take your land from Germany. They're the ones who did this to you. You think Palestinians ever hurt you? They never hurt you. Come on. Don't hurt Palestinians, the ones who are helping you. Just ask yourself this. If the U.S. turned on you, if Europe turned on you and stopped supporting you, Israel, my question is, who's going to help you after that? Don't bite the hand that feeds you, right? Don't fight the people who've helped you for 1,300 years, who you can trust the most are the Muslims. who will always respect you are the Muslims. The people who disrespected you through all of history were the Christians from Europe. And now you've flipped reality upside down. And then you lie against the ones who helped you, and you take the support from the ones who killed you. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Even USA, only recently have they ever respected Jews. Through most of the U.S. history, they didn't respect anybody really. I mean, think anybody but themselves. They never respected anybody, let alone Jews. They didn't respect Jews for most of it. Even a lot of them still don't respect Jews. Most, I shouldn't say a lot of them, a few of them, a tiny minority. And worst of all, the ones who talk the most about Israel are actually the most critical and disrespectful of Jews. It's the hard right, like evangelical Christians and stuff, are the ones, it's so irrational. It's so irrational. You have no backup plan anymore. The Muslim world was always your backup plan to run to when you had a problem. And we always helped you. And I still will help you. If a Jew comes to my house and knocks on my door and says, help me, someone's going to try to hurt me, I promise you I will help you. I promise you I will take you in and defend you. I promise you I will. Any Jew, even if it's Benjamin Netanyahu himself, comes in my door and he's like, someone's trying to murder me. Can you help me? I'll let you in. I will let you in. Inshallah, I'm not even kidding you. I will let you in. Seriously, I mean, if you ask me for help, I will help you. That's just the way it is. The heart is meant to reflect the divine names of God, right? We help each other as human beings. We don't just kill each other. We help each other. We don't hurt each other. We don't betray each other. We don't lie against each other. This tongue was not created to lie and to hurt the people who help me. No, my tongue was created to speak the truth, to speak with the light. Okay, that's what my tongue was created to do. Okay, so do what you were created to do. If you don't know what you were created to do, God will give it to you. Ask Him, why did you create me? Ask Him, why did you create me? What is your religion? Where is your guidance? Where is your light? Show me to it. Grant me it. He'll give it to you. Ask Him, He'll give. Ask Him, He'll give. Ask Allah anything good, He'll give it to you. Okay, and only ask for good. Never ask for anything evil. Right? The Quran teaches us this. Don't ask for evil. The Prophet Muhammad said, I don't curse people. He says, I don't curse people. Even people who hurt him, who literally tried to kill him and poison him, he never cursed them. Okay, he never cursed them. He said, I don't curse people. He taught us not to do that. We only ask for good. He taught us to help people. Okay? So that's my message for you, inshallah. Hopefully you'll consider this short. Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.